Mining contributes 25% to the country's income, and it's the largest contributor to the Namibian economy. The industry produces various natural resources, which include diamonds, uranium, gold, tin, and lithium, just to mention a few. The Environmental Management Act, through its EIA process, requires the mining companies to identify and minimize the likelihood of impacts beyond the mining site. My name is Jonas Mbambo. Good evening. Welcome back. Tonight, Geoenergy focuses on the safety in Namibian mines. And to summarize the efforts by the Ministry of Mines and Energy and various stakeholders, I'm joined by the Chief Inspector of Mines, Matthews Amongete. Very good evening to you, sir, and thank you so much for joining us.
Very good evening, Mr. Jonas Mbambo, for inviting the Ministry of Mines and Energy. And let us proceed with the task ahead.
All right, much obliged. First and foremost, Matthews, I mean, one would wonder why safety, of course, safety is very important in various areas, maybe in every aspect of our lives. But in mining, talk to us about that. Why is it so important?
The main reason why safety is important is not only important in the mining industry, but the safety and health is a way of living in general in everybody's life. You will appreciate that when your close and loved ones, when they go to work, you would expect them to come back home the same way as they went to work, and equally maybe come back a bit more better off than when they left home. And that is what we are striving to achieve in the mining industry, specifically to achieve zero harm where possible.
What are the major health and safety issues currently being encountered in Namibian mines?
Generally, we do have a workable legal framework to make sure that our employees and anybody else otherwise present at the mining operations is taken care of in terms of health and safety. But there are situations where you sometimes you find that unwanted events do happen at operations, simply due to the failure of technology, the failure of human beings to act accordingly, or simply dangers that are inherent with the working environment.
Which elements would you say are essential in order to achieve safety and, as you said, fatality-free production in the mines?
The most important element or aspect is that as a human being, as an employee, and employers alike, they must have a will and commitment to make sure that persons working for them or otherwise present in that specific mining operations are safe and healthy to the best of their ability.
When a motor vehicle accident occurs anywhere, the police are usually called to come and compile what they call an accident report. How does it work in the mining industry when an accident happens? Just help us understand the step-by-step procedures that are followed.
The steps are quite relatively similar. The mining industry is relatively unique because it's a controlled environment that each and everyone who comes into that specific mining operation comes only at their approval of the mineral rights holder. So when an unwanted event or accident happens, specifically the serious ones or fatal ones, mine management notifies the Ministry of Mines and Energy of the accident as soon as possible. Then inspectors from the Ministry of Mines and Energy, they go to site and make verifications of what has happened. An internal investigation is then prepared by the company and submitted to the Office of the Chief Inspector of Mines. Then a formal investigation of the actual accident takes place, where various witnesses are invited, asked questions under oath, and the findings of such an accident investigation is forwarded to the Office of the Prosecutor General for consideration.
And in the time of the investigations, does the operation still continue to go on in the mines, or how does it work?
It depends. If the situation warrants the total stoppage or partial stoppage of that specific operations, that is what happens.
All right. Now, obviously, with all accidents, somebody has to bear the cost. In the mining industry, who bears the cost for injuries and damages caused through the accidents in the mining sector?
Under normal circumstances, when the employer starts their operations, they register their employees with the Social Security Commission, where they contribute a certain percentage of a worker's salary or remuneration, and the company contributes equally a certain percentage, so that when an accident happens where a person is incapacitated to such an extent that is no longer capable of fulfilling their natural functions, they can then be compensated by the Social Security Commission. A person goes through medical attentions, and the doctor then writes a report to the Social Security Commission to indicate the degree of impairment, so that that person is then compensated. They've got a formula for such
incidences,
accidents.
Now, one would perhaps wonder if an investigation is carried out and it's found that the mine was falling short of some of the what is required of them. Is the mine liable of paying out the injured employee?
The most important thing is that the mine contributes directly to the Social Security Commission, which pays out amounts as prescribed in their operating procedures.
All right.
That does, however, not preclude the mines from taking out any other life insurance covers that are available in the market.
All right, understood. Just joining us, you're watching Geoenergy, and tonight we're talking about safety in Namibian mines. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Geoenergy, and once again we are focusing on safety in Namibian mines. Matthews, let's talk a little bit about policy and the legal framework in the mining sector. What are the measures that are put in place to protect the mine workers?
Let us start from the supreme law in the country. The Constitution makes provision for the protection of human lives. This is further supported by the health and safety regulations that are made under the Minerals and Prospecting Act. Again, strengthened by a major piece of legislation that regulates all other industries, which is called the Labor Act of 1992 and its corresponding regulations.
And how does that act also relate to, we've spoken about the mine workers, but does it also make provision for the protection of the employers as well?
The main focus of the legal framework is to protect each and everyone working or otherwise present at mines, be it an employer himself or employee, visitors, or contractors alike.
Understood. Namibia has not yet experienced a large-scale tragedy in the country's mines. What policies and regulations are put in place that must be followed to ensure this track record is maintained? And does this history perhaps also indicate that we take safety in the mining sector in Namibia very, very seriously?
As we have indicated earlier, we've got a solid or relatively acceptable legal framework that provides for the protection of human lives. Equally, we will all appreciate that Namibians have got a will and commitment to live peaceful, healthy, and safe lives. And that is the main thing that have made us stand above many other industries. We must, however, accept the fact that the support and cooperation that we get from our industry operators, mainly the Chamber of Mines, our trade unions, our citizenry in general, contributes for us to achieve that zero harm. We must equally acknowledge the fact that the technological advancement, such as the introduction of automation, artificial intelligence, and other evolutions, have contributed immensely for us to achieve a relatively low rate of injuries and deaths in our Namibian mines.
What are the penalties for any person that contravenes or fails to comply with these regulations? I mean, like, all regulations are prone to be broken by some people who want to stray away from what is already established in the legal framework. Talk to us a bit about that.
It may happen that somebody may transgress what is provided for by the law. The law provides for monetary penalties and equally empowers government to bring the operations to a standstill, or even to evoke or to revoke that specific mining license or mineral rights license. The monetary values that are currently in place are relatively outdated and the ministry is reviewing the legislation so that we can slightly up the monetary penalties so that it's more competitive and equally cost-effective in all aspects.
I assume before penalties are dished out to anybody who contravenes the law, the regulations, an investigation is carried out. Is that the case?
Yes. After the investigation, the inspectorate gives directives for rectification with timelines. And where applicable, and a transgression has been made, the monetary penalizations will then be applied.
There have been some concerns around the environmental impact of mining, and in this case, let's look at sand mining and how it poses a danger on the inhabitants. What is the Ministry of Mines and Energy stance on that?
See, we must first take into consideration and appreciate that our supreme law, the Constitution, provides for the protection of environment. Further to that, the principal piece of legislation that regulates environmental aspects in Namibia is the Environmental Act. What under an ideal situation should happen is that when we as citizens or business people indulge in the excavation of sand, creating excavations, we should, after the operation, bring that environment close to its natural formation. Unfortunately, our experience is that this does not happen. So together, as citizens, business people, landowners, our traditional leaders, we must put our minds together and put in place workable systems so that this trend does not continue.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk about the technological advancements in the mining sector as far as safety is concerned. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Geoenergy. I'm Jonas Mbambo, and tonight I'm joined by the Chief Inspector of Mines at the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Matthew Samungete, and today's topic is all about safety in Namibian mines. Matthews, let's talk a little bit about the technological advancements in the mining industry over the years. Now, you are a man that has vast experience, 30 plus years in the mining sector. You started off as a mine worker, and today you are the Chief Inspector of mines in the ministry. Talk to us a bit about the changes that you have witnessed in the mining sector and how things are much more better or easier for the modern day mine worker compared to you guys 30 years ago.
Maybe it's best to providing information to the public that mining has been a noble industry that has evolved over years and decades. People, our forefathers, started working manually by using obsolete tools. such as what we call kufut, the gualas, metals, hammers. With technological advancement, we have seen the arrival of mechanization, the arrival of explosives, the arrival of mechanization, and of recent, the arrival of artificial intelligence, which is the trend in not only limited to the mining industry, but to many other industries. This has made life easy for all the generations, current and future, that human beings do not need to physically toil as they used to do before. There are better, more convenient and safer technological ways of how to extract minerals faster, safer, and in a more convenient manner.
Lastly, Matthews, the future of safety in mines in Namibia, how does it look in your eyes?
Having given you and the public in general the evolution of the mining industry and where we are now, and the fact that technology continues to evolve and advance, we've got a good level of confidence that these technologies will help the mining industry to discover more minerals, extract them relatively more cost-effective, safer, and probably more sustainable. You will appreciate that the recent technologies that are being applied, coupled with government efforts, the mining industry, our trade unions, and other stakeholders, we will strive and continue to strive to achieve the best possible levels of production, health and safety, and many other positive and constructive aspects.
Matthews, I do appreciate having taken the time out to come share with us the knowledge and obviously your experience and keeping up to speed as to what's going on in the mining sector as far as safety is concerned. All I can say is all the best to you and the rest of your team that will ensure this good track record that we're having so far. Thank you so much.
I thank you too.
Well, there you have it, folks. Everything that you need to know about the status quo of safety in Namibian mines, courtesy of the Chief Inspector of the Mines in the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Matthews Amungete. Until next time, from myself, Jonas Mbambo, and the entire crew, it's been a pleasure as always. Cheers for now.